In the past, I always played the role of a submissive woman for the sake of marriage. Now I realize that retorting to others is truly satisfying. However, this is not enough to fully vent my anger. I heard that the mistress was a teacher. Teachers usually attach great importance to their image. So I hired several people to hang a banner at the school gate where the mistress worked. The touching banner read, "Lu Ruyan, the teacher of Class 1, Grade 9, is willing to be a mistress for love." Attached to it were aforementioned records of flirtatious conversations, hotel check-in records, and screenshots of videos of their physical explorations. We deliberately displayed it when there were the most people right after school. The onlookers took out their mobile phones to take pictures one after another. I believe it won't be long before it spreads across moments and becomes popular on the internet. I sat in the car, enjoying the air conditioning and admiring the furious look of Lu Ruyan. After a while, when the crowd had almost dispersed, I reckoned that the police would arrive soon. I sent a message to the leader, telling them to withdraw quickly. My cheating husband Suwon also came. He put his arm around Lu Ruyan with a look of concern, comforting her, and his small eyes like mung beans were still searching around. Wearing sunglasses and a mask, I sat in an unfamiliar car. I wasn't worried at all that he would spot me. After watching enough of the show, I told the driver to turn around and go to a bar. It wasn't that I was drowning my sorrows in alcohol. Instead, the house was as desolate as a tomb, and I really didn't want to go back. My son was 4 years old this year. To avoid affecting him during the divorce, he had been living at my parents' house recently. I had a wild time at the bar. When I got home very late, Suwon was sitting on the sofa, smoking with a dark face. There was a pile of cigarette butts in the ashtray. "Where did you go drinking again?" he asked. "You still have the leisure to care about my drinking?" I said with a smile. "Aren't you going to comfort Lu Ruyan tonight?" Hearing this, he immediately extinguished the cigarette butt irritably. "What on earth do you want? Keep our business between us. Don't involve the innocent." I seem to have heard the most ridiculous joke. "She's innocent? What about me? You're really funny. And don't you know what I want? I've already given you most of the assets. Aren't you satisfied?" "No, I'm not. I want you to leave the marriage penniless," I said word by word. "If you can't do it, just wait and see. Today was just an appetizer." After saying that, I entered the bedroom and locked the door. Suwon cursed in the living room and then slammed the door and left. Lying on the bed, I couldn't help but feel my eyes turn red. Although I had already decided to divorce, I still couldn't suppress the bitterness in my heart. We dated for 2 years and were married for 5 years. Our 7-year relationship couldn't withstand the plump body of the mistress. I slept until noon. When I was having lunch, Suwon came home. He threw a virtual divorce agreement on the table. "Sign it. As you wish, I'll leave the marriage penniless." I opened it and sneered. "You don't want custody of our son?" His face looked a bit unnatural. "The son is too young. He can't leave his mother. When he grows up, I'll definitely take him back." I was too lazy to expose him and signed the name readily. After he left, I sent a message to my best friend. "You did a great job." My best friend was surprised. He really gave up custody and left the marriage penniless? Of course, the mistress's whispers in his ear weren't for nothing. I'm not surprised at all. Before, my husband was fighting with me for custody. Coincidentally, a friend of my best friend lived in the same community as Lu Ruyan. So we deliberately asked her friend to mention casually that his wife couldn't afford to raise the child, and that the child would compete with him for the family property when grown up. It would be better to have a child of his own for security. Since the start of the divorce process, I made it clear that I didn't intend to fight for custody. And after yesterday's incident, Suwon wanted to dump the child on me, and also prevent me from causing more trouble. So he had to obediently sign the agreement to leave the marriage penniless. Of course he wasn't stupid. A long time ago, he registered a company in the mistress's name, and secretly emptied the current company under his name. He wanted to leave me with an empty shell. Well, then I'll make him an empty shell too. There are still 10 days until the divorce cooling-off period ends. Looking at the lottery ticket in my hand, I can't help but let the corners of my mouth rise. A few days ago, I casually bought a lottery ticket. Who could have imagined that I would win the top prize with an 8-digit amount? Moreover, I had been secretly investing in stocks without telling Suwon. I turned more than 100,000 yuan into over 1 million yuan. So I'm not short of money, but I definitely won't leave him a single cent. The doorbell rang. After carefully putting away the lottery ticket, I went to open the door. My mother-in-law came with a bunch of relatives again. I blocked the door. "You're not welcome here." My mother-in-law immediately started wailing. "Oh, my life is so hard. I can't even enter my own son's house." As she spoke, she pushed me. I stumbled, and several other relatives took the opportunity to squeeze in. I said impatiently, "What on earth do you want?" My eldest cousin stated their purpose. "Sister-in-law, it's not that I'm meddling. You know, couples who quarrel in bed make up in bed. How can you divorce just like that? Yes, but Suwon doesn't want to make up. You're persuading the wrong person. I played with my newly done manicure. Unexpectedly hearing me say this, they were all stunned for a moment, and the words of admonition they had prepared were swallowed back. Pretending to be distressed, I said, Suwon doesn't even want custody of our son just to be with the mistress. My mother-in-law's face suddenly changed. She stopped pretending to cry and stormed out with a twitching face. The remaining people looked at each other in dismay and finally left as well. I closed the door and called the real estate agent. Sell this house for me as soon as possible. It doesn't matter if the price is a bit lower. I don't want to see them come and make a scene after the divorce. In the following days, I don't know what means the mistress used, but my mother-in-law really stopped causing trouble. She was traditional and adored her grandson. She couldn't give up custody easily. Lu Ruyan was pregnant. I asked a friend of my best friend to help me inquire and confirmed my suspicion. Moreover, she lied to my mother-in-law that she had found a private doctor to check, and it was a boy. In fact, she hadn't been checked at all. Also, I heard that she had improper relationships with several men. That child might not be Suwon's. Since reaching an agreement with Suwon, he directly moved into Lu Ruyan's house and no longer bothered me. I was happy to be at ease and free. Every day I ate, drank, and had fun. I also tidied up the house. Those things related to knowledge that were not valuable were thrown away. Those that were valuable were sold. And those that couldn't be sold were given away. After finishing all these things, I spent a large sum of money to change to a smart lock. On the last day of the divorce cooling-off period, my best friend suddenly sent me a video. A fierce-looking man grabbed Lu Ruyan forcefully and said viciously, "You plan to marry someone else while carrying my child? Dream on." Lu Ruyan protected her belly with one hand and pushed him hard with the other. "Get lost. This child has nothing to do with you. Do you dare to do a paternity test?" The man persisted. Lu Ruyan was visibly panicked. "Why should my child do a test with you?" I stood up abruptly. If this was seen by Suwon or my mother-in-law, the divorce wouldn't go through. "Where is this? I'll send someone to stop her right away." My best friend sent a location. When I arrived at the scene with 4 or 5 strong men, there were already many neighbors watching the commotion around the two of them. Since Lu Ruyan knew me, I hid in the car and only told the men to pull the man over. After the man was taken away, the leading strong man apologized to the onlooking neighbors with a smile. "My relative has a mental problem. I'm sorry. Although Lu Ruyan looked puzzled, she didn't miss the chance to play along. "Keep an eye on your relative. What kind of person is he? I don't even know him. If he harasses me again, I'll call the police." Then she scurried away quickly. The man was forcefully pulled into the car and looked very annoyed. "Who the hell are you?" I smiled and offered him a cigarette. "Brother, I'm a friend of Lu Ruyan. She's not convenient to see you now. Tell me if you have anything." He looked at me disdainfully. "She's about to cuckold me. What's the use of telling you? Can you replace her and serve me?" As he spoke, his eyes obviously scanned me up and down. Suppressing the nausea in my heart, I lit the cigarette for him. "Don't be kidding, brother. Lu Ruyan likes you. She's carrying your child in her belly. Now she's deliberately tricking Suwon into marrying her. After 1 month, she'll divorce him and get half of his property. Then you two can have a good time as you like, right?" The man's expression softened a bit. "Are you lying to me? If she really marries a rich man, will she be willing to divorce?" I feigned surprise. "Don't you know? The rich man she found has problems in that aspect. Lu Ruyan said he's not even 1% as good as you. How can an ordinary person compare with you?" The man leaned back in the chair triumphantly, squinted his eyes, and exhaled a smoke ring. I took out a stack of cash from my bag and handed it to him. "This is what Lu Ruyan asked me to give you. Spend it first. Contact me if you need more. If Lu Ruyan doesn't divorce in 1 month, you can go and make a scene with her. I definitely won't stop you." After solving the problem, I rushed to my best friend's house and gave her a big kiss. "Honey, thanks to you. After the divorce, I'll take you to a club and order the most handsome male models for you." Finally, I got the brand new divorce certificate. I was so excited that I couldn't stop the corners of my mouth from rising. Then I took a photo and posted it on Moments with the caption "single again." So happy. My mother called immediately to question me. "What happened? Why did you divorce without saying a word? When two people live together, don't be too picky." Anyway, I had already divorced, and it was too late to say anything. I interrupted her directly. I had sent Suwon's cheating video in his family group before. I didn't want to discuss my relatives, so my mother didn't know about his infidelity. I didn't dare to tell her either. I was afraid that if my mother knew the truth, she would still persuade me not to divorce. I'd rather she persuade me when she knew nothing. I drove the car to an unmanned public toilet, parked it in a secluded place, and then changed into a panda doll costume. I swaggered to the lottery store to claim the prize. The staff members vied to take photos with me, and I agreed readily. Anyway, no one could recognize me in this costume. Everything went smoothly with the process. When I returned to the gate of the community, I suddenly noticed the figure of my mother-in-law looking around. I was extremely glad that I had changed the lock. Otherwise, if she saw that Suwon's things had all been disposed of by me, she would definitely make a big scene again. Before she noticed me, I quickly turned around, found a faraway trash can, threw away the doll costume, and then drove directly to my mother's place. Unexpectedly, since my mother-in-law didn't catch me, she actually went directly to my mother's house. After opening the door, she hugged Song Song affectionately. "My dear grandson, Grandma misses you so much." To be honest, although she wasn't nice to me, she really loved Song Song from the bottom of her heart. If it weren't for my ex-husband and the mistress not wanting to raise the child, it would really be difficult to get custody. "Ching Ching, I want to take Song Song to live with me for a few days." "No," I refused directly. My mother-in-law was as shrewd as a sieve. Who knew what she was up to? Besides, she had to take care of the pregnant woman now. How could she have the energy? My mother-in-law looked a bit embarrassed. Ruyan is not used to me taking care of her. Besides, who knows if she's carrying a boy or a girl? I was a bit speechless. Then she said, "I've thought it over. Although you two are divorced, Song Song is still my grandson. I'll take care of Song Song. You just need to give me some living expenses every month." I sneered in my heart. So her purpose was to move into my original house and let me pay the living expenses. The house that Soo-won and I had was my dowry, but my former mother-in-law always thought that once we got married, it belonged to their family. Before marriage, she often invited relatives to live there to show off. She probably didn't know about the divorce agreement at all, and still thought the house was the property of the Soo family. I asked indifferently, "So how much do you think is appropriate?" Seeing that I didn't seem to object, my mother-in-law's eyes were full of anticipation. "Not much. 20 or 30,000 yuan is enough. You young people don't earn money easily." I almost wanted to laugh. So is this money to be shared equally between Soo-won and me? I can't be the only one to pay it all, right? He has a lot of expenses now. He's not well off. Don't be so stingy. Song Song is your own son. I wasn't surprised by this answer at all. Well then forget it. I don't have money either. My mother takes care of Song Song for free. I refused slowly. My mother-in-law was about to say something when her phone rang suddenly and interrupted her. She hid aside to answer it, and then her face changed drastically. She kept saying, "Why can't you be more careful? I'll come over right away." Then she said she was leaving. When she reached the door, she said with a sullen face, "Song Song is the grandson of the Soo family. I'm his biological grandmother. I won't harm him. I'm much more reliable than some other people. You think about it carefully." This was clearly insinuating that my mother was unreliable. I was so angry that I slammed the door hard. With a loud bang, my mother came out of the kitchen looking puzzled. "What's wrong? Did your mother-in-law leave?" "It's my mother-in-law," I corrected. After having dinner in the evening, I took Song Song back to my place. My mother-in-law reminded me today, since I'm already divorced, why should the child still have his father's surname? But Wanwan Meishengdal, the police station rejected my request. Because to change the surname, I needed to obtain the consent certificate from the child's father. I was a bit worried. Soo-won was extremely patriarchal. He probably wouldn't sign this. Moreover, if my mother-in-law knew, she would probably threaten to hang herself. She mustn't find out. I hesitated for a long time and finally dialed Soo-won's phone number to give it a try. "What are you doing? Is your mother there?" "No." "Why are you looking for my mother? Why are you calling me?" "I'm at the hospital. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up." His tone was very bad. I quickly said, "Don't hang up. I have something to discuss with you." He was a bit impatient. "What do you have to discuss with me?" "I want Song Song to have my surname." Before I could finish, he interrupted me. "You're dreaming. Song Song is my son. He must have the surname Soo. No discussion." Then he hung up. I was a bit helpless. What kind of system is this? A woman gives birth to a child with great hardship. After divorce, she raises the child herself, but to change the surname, she must get the consent of the man. I suddenly remembered that a relative seemed to have connections with the police station. I quickly bought a lot of gifts and went to visit. After explaining my intention, the relative smiled bitterly and said, "It's not that I don't want to help you. It's just that the inspection is too strict now. We must follow the regulations. Otherwise, I'll lose my job. And even if I handle it for you against the rules, if the child's father finds out and sues later, the name will still have to be changed back." Indeed, I had thought it too simply. I couldn't help but feel a bit annoyed. I should have added it to the divorce agreement earlier. I registered a shell company with a new mobile phone number. Under my instruction, the new employee proposed to cooperate and invest with Soo-won's new company. Afraid that he would be suspicious, we first made several small order transactions normally. After Soo-won made money several times, he completely let down his guard and often drank and ate with the new employee. Looking at the friends for life walking together that Soo-won posted in his moments, I smiled. The big fish was about to take the bait. At the same time, I also learned why my mother-in-law left in a hurry last time. As the saying goes, good news never goes beyond the gate, while bad news spreads far and wide. Since the big-scale publicity at the school gate, Lu Ruyan had become completely famous. She was often pointed at when walking on the street. Because of this, she had an argument with a neighbor. In a fit of anger, she pushed the neighbor. The neighbor was walking a dog. When the dog saw its owner being bullied, it immediately pounced on her. Lu Ruyan was frightened and fell, and then she had a miscarriage. Now she was still lying in the hospital trying to save the pregnancy. I went to see her with a fruit basket. Her face was still a bit pale. She looked at me angrily and said, "What are you doing here?" I smiled slightly, placed the fruit basket far away from her and said, I really came to visit you. She was so angry that she threw a cup at me. Really? To laugh at me? If it weren't for you making a scene at the gate, would I be in the hospital? I couldn't help but refute her. I didn't make a scene. I just wanted everyone to know the truth. It's really your own fault for being indiscreet. Did you come just to say I deserve it? Of course not. I want to cooperate with you. Her expression was full of suspicion. What can we cooperate on? You persuade Soo-won to agree to change Song-song's surname. I'll write a guarantee to promise that Song-song will cut off relations with Soo-won, not ask for alimony, and not inherit his property. How about it? Lu Ruyan paused for a moment and said stubbornly. He's already left the marriage penniless. What property can he inherit? You know best whether he has property or not. Or maybe he doesn't have it now, but it doesn't mean he won't have it in the future. I looked straight into her eyes. What's more, there are those things he transferred to your name. Her eyes were evasive and she looked guilty. I continued. I can also pretend that I didn't see anything, as long as you find a way to make him agree to change Song-song's surname. Besides, isn't this a win-win situation for you? Do you really want to give up the right to inherit property for the sake of a surname? She looked a bit incredulous. I secretly laughed in my heart. Whether it's property or debt, it's still uncertain. On the surface, I looked serious and a bit melancholy. There's no way. You also know that it's not easy for a woman with a child to remarry. No one wants to raise someone else's son. But if the child has my surname, it will be easier. Maybe the man won't mind as much and will be nice to the child for my sake. If Soo-won really doesn't want to, I won't want custody either. I can't be alone and miserable for the rest of my life because of the child, right? I retreated in order to advance. Lu Ruyan immediately agreed. Okay, I understand you. It's not easy being a woman. I'll figure out a way to change the surname. I pretended to be extremely grateful. I had to say that Lu Ruyan was really good at dealing with men. She settled this matter in just 3 days. I also gave her an agreement to cut off relations and give up the right to inherit property. To prevent any changes, I took Song-song to the police station to change his surname the next day. The real estate agent also chunlai good news. The house was sold. Because my house had good lighting and a good location, and the price was much lower than the market price, they wanted to sign the contract as soon as possible. This house was carefully selected by my father before he passed away. He said that a girl with a house has confidence. Unfortunately, he passed away not long after buying the house. Every detail of the decoration was designed by me, spending a lot of time and energy. I was a bit reluctant to sell it. However, in order to get rid of the scumbag and enjoy a good life with my family in the future, I had to part with it reluctantly. After signing the transfer contract, I let out a long sigh of relief, feeling that all problems had been resolved. Next, I just waited to watch them fight among themselves. In the evening, I called my best friend and invited her to a club to celebrate. In the Resplendent Paradise Club, male models with outstanding looks and figures entered one after another. My best friend's eyes sparkled. Wow, this one is great. This one is also good looking. It's so hard to choose. I put my arm around her shoulder and said boldly, keep all the ones you like. Your sister has plenty of money. The eyes of everyone in the room lit up instantly. In the end, my best friend and I chose 8 male models, including youthful and exuberant little milk dogs, muscular hunks with 8-pack abs, and even a cosplayer. My best friend thought it was a bit wasteful, saying that we couldn't even touch them all. I smiled at her and said, sister, we've made a fortune. Squander to your heart's content. Then in the midst of Yi Sung sister, we got drunk and passed out. The next day, I woke up with a splitting headache. Truly, wine and lust can be misleading. I frowned and rubbed my head, taking a long time to come to my senses. I couldn't remember why I was in a hotel room. At this moment, a man came out of the bathroom. He was one of the 8 male models from yesterday. Why are you here? I was surprised. He smiled ambiguously. Sister, you didn't want me to leave last night. How come you don't remember now that you're awake? What about my friend? She's in another room. He pointed outside. My mind was in a mess. I took out all the cash from my bag and handed it to him. Thank you for yesterday. Now it's okay. You can go back. Then I looked at my phone. There were more than a dozen missed calls from Soo-won on WeChat, and he had also sent messages. What are you doing? Why did you sell the house? What does this mean? You didn't even tell me. You changed the child's surname and sold the house. What are you trying to do? I was a bit speechless. The house was bought by my father, and the child was born by me. I can sell it if I want and change the surname if I want. What business is it of yours? He replied instantly. How much did you sell the house for? Are you eyeing my money from selling the house? After sending this sentence, I was too lazy to reply to him. My best friend was sleeping soundly. It took me a long time to wake her up. How did we end up in a hotel? I couldn't remember either. My best friend looked confused. Forget it. Who cares? I rubbed my temples. The employees of the new company called to report that they had started to act according to the plan. Only then did I suddenly realize why my ex-husband had his eyes on the house. He wanted to invest in this big project, but didn't have enough funds. I opened WeChat again and saw that Soo-won had sent a message asking if I could lend him some money for a short-term turnover, and that he would pay me back soon. I smiled. Out of past feelings, I recommended a loan shark's WeChat to him. Contact him. He can lend you any amount of money. Even if we're not a couple anymore, we're still friends, right? Can't you give me a hand? In the past, when we were in love, I liked his thick skinness the most. But now I just felt disgusted. Who's your friend? You scoundrel. I planned to buy a villa and told the real estate agent to contact me if there was a suitable one. Then I drove to the kindergarten to pick up Song Song. But the teacher told me that the child's father had already picked him up. I felt annoyed immediately. Since he couldn't get money from me, he wanted to play tricks with Song Song, right? When I got home, Suwon was sitting in the living room, watching Song Song do his homework. Before we divorced, he always used being busy at work as an excuse to stay away from home every day, and never accompanied Song Song. Now that he needed money, he was willing to play the role of a loving father. I slammed the door hard and looked at him. What are you doing here? My mother came out of the bedroom with a bank card and winked at me, telling me not to be willful. You two talk things out properly. Suwon pretended to be obedient and said, It's okay. Ching is just straightforward. I'm used to it. His eyes, however, were fixed on the bank card. I couldn't help but refute. Mom, we're already divorced. We're not a couple. And why do you have a bank card? Is he asking you for a loan? I snatched the bank card from my mother's hand. She looked unhappy. What are you doing? Suwon said his business needs to turn over funds. He'll pay me back in a few months. We're a family. We should help each other. What difficulties can't we overcome? Why do you have to get divorced? You can't just focus on money. Mom, you don't know him. I know him. He told me everything. I looked at Suwon disdainfully. Then I asked my mother in disbelief. You know everything? Why are you still saying these things? Is his character still considered good? He just lost some money. Can business always go smoothly? I was furious. He lied to you that his business lost money. That's why I divorced him. My mother looked blank. Yes. Otherwise, why? I felt like I had swallowed a fly. I gritted my teeth and said to Suwon, You cheated and had a mistress. You have the nerve to lie to my mother that your business lost money. I saved face for you and didn't expose you. How can you be so shameless? My mother looked shocked and disgusted. She immediately took a knife and drove Suwon out. Why didn't you tell Mom that the divorce was because he cheated? I was nervous. I was afraid that even if you knew, you would still persuade me not to divorce. My mother smiled bitterly. Oh, Mom didn't want you to divorce because she wanted someone to take care of you. For small things in life, it's okay to take a step back. But if he really did something wrong to you, of course Mom will stand by you. I wiped my red eyes. The burden on my heart suddenly disappeared. In the end, Suwon didn't borrow any money. I heard that he had to borrow from loan sharks. After a few more peaceful days, the man who had been pestering Lu Rian suddenly called me, saying that he was short of money and asking me to transfer some more to him. I didn't say anything and blocked him immediately. The man called me from another phone number, cursing and asking me what I meant. I pretended to be helpless. I'm sorry, brother. You were right. Lu Rian doesn't want to divorce now. She said there's no future with you. The man shouted angrily, That bitch. I knew she had no conscience. You tell her to wait for me. After hanging up, I couldn't help but laugh. The good show was about to start. This phone number was no longer useful. I went directly to the nearest business hall to cancel it, and then told the new employees that they could close the net. Soon Suwon would find out that he would have nothing. As I expected, that night Suwon posted on WeChat, Women are so hypocritical. They say they love you, but they're entangled with someone else. I gave him a like and kindly comforted him. Look at you men. It's the same. For example, you. Later, it was said that they went for a paternity test, and the result was that the child was really not Suwon's. After the test result came out, my mother-in-law couldn't wait to drag Suwon to apologize to me. She was acting, holding a flimsy clothes-drying pole and saying to me, Ching, this time it's Suwon's fault. I've taught him a good lesson. Don't worry. He won't dare to do this again in the future. As she spoke, she deliberately knocked the clothes-drying pole on the ground a few times reluctantly. I watched coldly. She didn't even bother to really hit him when acting. Was this how she fooled people? My mother's face looked ugly. She saw through this little trick clearly. I just drank water and didn't speak. The atmosphere was very cold. My mother-in-law coughed and said, Ching, for my sake, give him another chance, okay? Suwon also took the opportunity to show his determination. Ching, I was confused before. I swear I'll be good to you from now on. My Ching is angry and needs to vent. Otherwise, I can't persuade her. My mother suddenly interrupted. Seeing a glimmer of hope, my former mother-in-law immediately chimed in. Yes. Let out your anger. After you let it out, everything will be fine. We're still a family. If you really want to, you can hit Suwon to vent your anger. As she spoke, she handed the clothes-drying pole to me. She seemed to be sure that I would bikuji the face of the elders and not dare to do it. I didn't reach out. My mother was quick-eyed and snatched it. I'll do it. Ching is angry. She might not know her own strength and hurt someone. Before the words were even finished, the clothes-drying pole rained down on Suwon like raindrops. My mother went all out, swinging the pole into a blur. Suwon was beaten and rolled all over the ground, howling. My mother-in-law looked Shintung and wanted to step forward to stop it but was accidentally hit. I thought it was almost enough and said slowly, Forget it. I'll think about it carefully. My mother obediently stopped. Then she said to my former mother-in-law, who was covering her hand and about to flare up, with an apologetic look, I'm sorry. You were standing too close just now. I didn't notice. I'm doing this for their own good. You won't blame me, will you? My former mother-in-law was speechless for a moment. After all, she was the one who asked me to do it first, and my mother was also kind-hearted, afraid that I would be too forceful and not know my own strength. Suwon was still wailing. I quickly pretended to be concerned and helped him up. Do you want to go to the hospital and have a look? My mother threw away the clothes-drying pole, clapped her hands and said to my mother-in-law, look how effective it is. Ching has already started to feel sorry for Suwon. She also opened the door and said, you'd better go to the hospital and have a look. In case there are scars left, it won't be good. Suwon left without saying a word, gritting his teeth. My mother-in-law also hurried out. My mother and I looked at each other for a moment and couldn't help but burst out laughing. It was so satisfying. After the beating incident, although Suwon didn't dare to come to my house to harass me anymore, he didn't give up. He often went to my company to block me and send me flowers and gifts. I thought he was really too idle, so I reported his new company for tax evasion. Suwon had almost used up all his assets for this investment, but there was no result at all. Now he also had to face huge fines and imprisonment. I thought he would give up for a while, but he persevered and pestered me again. That's right. His biggest hope now was that after I got back together with him, I could pay off his debts. As for Lu Ruyan, she had aborted the child and now no one knew where she was hiding. Lu Ruyan's lover, unable to find her, vented his anger on Suwon and beat him up. After watching enough of the show, I left. I had been keeping an eye on the man's informants. The next day, when Suwon appeared in front of me with a bruised face, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. He explained awkwardly that he had accidentally fallen to the ground. God really has eyes, I funked her Ed. Can you talk properly? If you had always been gentle, we would never have divorced. He frowned and accused me. So cheating is my fault? I sneered. I said, why do you still want to come back to me, someone who you think talks harshly? He was silent for a long time before saying, we still have feelings. I want to give you and Song a complete family. I really didn't know how he had the nerve to say this. After cheating and having nothing, he remembered to give the child a complete family. A complete family doesn't need a scumbag. You just want my money, right? If you tell the truth, I'd still consider you a man. His eyes lit up. Then I'll be straight. Are you willing to give me a chance to help me? If you don't help, don't bother me. I glanced at him with a look of disdain. What makes you think I'll agree to you coming back? I'm rich and have plenty of free time now. I can have any man I want. What are you? Deeply hurt by my words, he took out a stack of photos from his pocket and threw them in my face, swearing, what are you? Right after getting divorced, you casually slept with someone. Do you think I really want to remarry you? If you don't want these photos to spread, you'd better obediently transfer money to me. I picked up the photos on the ground. In them I was naked, being held in the arms of a man. The man looked a bit familiar. It took me a long time to remember that it was that male model. The photos were taken secretly. Do you know that secretly taking photos is illegal? I looked directly into his eyes. The bear-like man seemed completely unconcerned. It wasn't me who took the photos secretly. Maybe you're the one who wants to sell them to a website after your little escapade. I slapped him with all my might and walked away with my head held high in the face of his stunned and terrified gaze, making a beeline for the police station. I handed the recording of the conversation just now and the photos to the police, explained everything, and in the face of the police's pitying looks, I stated my demands. He insulted and blackmailed me. I hope you enforce the law impartially and don't try to smooth things over. Also, this hotel secretly photographed the privacy of its customers. I hope you will take this matter seriously. The police officer put down the pen and looked solemn. Don't worry. We will take care of all these things. In the evening, my former mother-in-law came to my door. She was weeping and wailing, talking about how hard it was for her to raise Suwon alone. I was so bored that I almost fell asleep. I had heard these words countless times during my marriage. Ching, although it's Suwon's fault, you can't just hang out with those improper people right after getting divorced. At least I got divorced. Suwon was fooling around even before the divorce. Men are different from women. How are they different? They're more shameless. My former mother-in-law was left speechless. She changed the subject. Even if you don't think about Suwon, you should think about Song. If Suwon gets a criminal record, Song's life will be ruined. He won't be able to take the civil service exam or get a government-affiliated job. A look of concern also appeared on my mother's face. I patted her hand to comfort her. It's okay. If he can't take the exam, he won't. Song may not be cut out for that anyway. There are so many jobs. He can choose something else. My former mother-in-law got anxious. You're his mother. How can you not think about him? Didn't his father not think about him either? I retorted casually. She had just said one word when she suddenly fainted and couldn't be woken up no matter how we called her. Seeing that she didn't seem to be faking it, I quickly called an ambulance. At the hospital, the doctor sighed. It's lung cancer. It's best not to tell the old lady for now. A good mental state will help her recover faster. Suwon was still in the detention center. I notified his cousin and cousin brother on WeChat and asked them to come over. Then I hired a nurse and went home. He didn't take care of me during my confinement under some pretext, and I'm not going to stay by the hospital bed to take care of her. But for the sake of her genuine love for Song, I paid her hospitalization fee and transferred 100,000 yuan to her bank card. I bought a well-decorated villa and planned to tidy it up and move in with my mother and Song. But I suddenly received a court summons. It turned out that Soo-won had sued me for hiding marital property. At the same time, my best friend sent me a link. It was an article on a public account with the title, "Revealing Who the Lucky Winner of the Big Lottery Is." Many people suspected that the lottery winning spots were predetermined and ordinary people couldn't win at all. So someone, in order to gain attention and attract fans, specially followed these lottery winners, and I was one of them. In the article, there was a photo of me coming out of the toilet after changing out of the panda costume. Although my eyes were mosaicked, people who knew me well could still recognize me at a glance. Soo-won probably saw this article and directly sued me, wanting to redivide the property. There was still some time before the court session. I had to come up with a way. I couldn't just sit and wait for disaster. Recently, the work pressure has been high. I rely on this casual minigame to relieve stress. By swapping adjacent fruits to form 3 identical fruits, they can be eliminated. Ever since I started playing this minigame, my legs don't ache, my back doesn't hurt. I have energy at work, and there's hope in life. Come and play with me. Click the bottom left corner to join. In the evening, I quietly went to the hospital where my mother-in-law was. Surprisingly, she was the only one in the hospital room. Soo-won and the relatives were all gone. I placed the fruits by her bedside. She woke up immediately and started complaining about being hungry. I peeled a banana and handed it to her. My mother-in-law took it and gobbled it up. The woman in the adjacent hospital bed looked at me with a look of reproach. "Are you her daughter? Why are you only coming now? The old lady has no one to take care of her and is often hungry." I was taken aback and explained, "I'm her former daughter-in-law. Where's her son? Didn't he come to take care of her? I even hired a nurse before." The woman sighed. "What kind of son is he? He's a debt collector. His old mother is in the hospital, and he doesn't come to take care of her. Instead, he asks for money every day. There was a nurse before, but the son thought it was a waste of money and dismissed her." I was a bit busy. I had long known that Soo-won was a no-good person, but I didn't expect him to be so heartless, even to his own mother. Fortunately, I divorced him early. Taking a closer look, my mother-in-law had indeed lost a lot of weight. She looked haggard and listless, but this was also her own doing. Usually, she spoiled Soo-won so much that she was too lazy to even wash my clothes during my pregnancy. I asked, "Where's your precious daughter-in-law?" Her lips trembled and she muttered, "Oh, she's busy with work and didn't come." I almost burst out laughing in anger. "At this time, you're still spoiling her. She has time to come to the hospital to dismiss the nurse but no time to take care of you." My former mother-in-law's face turned red. Her eyes were still on the fruits I brought. I gave them all to her in order to take out. After she finished eating, I asked directly, "Do you know about your illness?" As soon as I said this, my mother-in-law's tears started flowing. "I know, but the doctor said my illness isn't in the late stage and can be cured. Please, Ching-Ching, you have to save me." I said coldly, "I transferred 100,000 yuan to your bank card. You also have your own savings. Why do you still need me to save you?" My mother-in-law said sheepishly, The money was taken by Soo-won." I was speechless. Neither of these mother-son pair was any good. He took away your life-saving money. He's basically giving up on saving you. Her face turned ashen and she kept coughing. She was both pitiful and pathetic. I took out a document and handed it to her. "Sign this and I'll pay for your treatment." My mother-in-law's eyes lit up, but after seeing the contents they dimmed again. "No, I won't sign. If I sign, I won't get a share of the money you won." I smiled sarcastically. "What a loving mother. Your dear son took away your life-saving money, and you're still thinking about him." I simply closed my eyes and didn't speak. I said slowly, "When he cheated, he transferred hundreds of thousands of yuan to his mistress. Did he give you a single cent? You, as his mother, are not as important as his mistress in his eyes, yet you're still so devoted to him." Her brows furrowed, and her fingers clenched the quilt tightly. I said slowly, "Did he say that after we finish the lawsuit and get the money, he'll use it to treat your illness?" My mother-in-law's expression relaxed, and there was even a smile on her lips. It seemed that Soo-won had really said that and she believed it. "But don't you know that a lawsuit can take a long time? As long as I find a way to delay it, the lawsuit can last for several years. Both Soo-won and I can afford to wait, but I don't know if you can hold out until then." She suddenly opened her eyes wide. "Impossible. My son won't lie to me." "I know you don't believe it. Why don't you ask a few more relatives?" The woman in the adjacent hospital bed also chimed in. "It's true. Lawsuits take a long time. Your son is lying to you." My mother-in-law took out her phone and made several calls in a row. Her face became uglier and uglier. Finally, she had to believe my words. But she still didn't agree to my conditions. She really wouldn't give up until she saw the Yellow River. Fortunately, I was well prepared. I took out my phone and opened a video for her to see. "Here you are, starving and being ignored, while your son is on a sweet date with Lu Ruyan." In the video, Soo-won and Lu Ruyan were in a high-end coffee shop, snuggling up to each other and drinking coffee. Actually, this video was taken by chance a long time ago when I first discovered that Soo-won was cheating. I didn't expect it to come in handy now. My former mother-in-law's face turned livid. "How are they together again?" I fanned the flames. "Even if he has money, he won't think of you. He'll only think of that mistress." "No, listen to this recording." I clicked on another audio. In it, there were the voices of Lu Ruyan and Soo-won. Lu Ruyan said, "I heard that cancer is very expensive. Will you really spend so much money to treat your mother's illness?" Suwon said, how could I? I'm lying to her. Cancer costs a lot of money and can't be cured. Why bother treating it? It's just a waste of money, Lu Ruyan said. Then if I get cancer in the future, will you not treat me either? Suwon said, if you're sick, I'll sell everything to treat you. After the audio was finished, my mother-in-law was completely disheartened and finally agreed to sign the document I prepared. After I left the hospital satisfied with the signed document, I sent a big red envelope to the two voice-over artists on WeChat. In the courtroom, just when Suwon thought he had the case in the bag, I smiled at him and said, I have a witness to prove that I told Mr. Su about winning the lottery as soon as I found out and did not hide it. However, due to the witness's physical condition, she is unable to appear in court, so she has signed a written statement. Suwon shouted loudly, impossible. You definitely didn't tell me. Who are these random people you found to testify for you? I handed the document in my hand to the judge. On the document it was clearly written, I Wang Chunmei with ID number XXXX. Hereby prove that my former daughter-in-law informed us of winning the lottery on May 2nd after she found out. However, my son insisted on being with Lu Ruyan, and was willing to give up marital property and voluntarily signed the divorce agreement to leave the marriage penniless. There was also a fingerprint above the name. Suwon was in a daze. It must be fake. How could my mother sign such an agreement? I request a handwriting identification. I know Mr. Su definitely won't believe it, so I also have a video as evidence. I calmly revealed my second trump card. In the video, my mother-in-law held her ID card and spoke clearly. I Wang Chunmei with ID number XXXX. Hereby prove again. No, impossible. Suwon shook his head in panic. My mother must be senile. Your Honor, I request an appraisal. Here is the mental appraisal report and physical examination report of my former mother-in-law Wang Chunmei. Although she suffers from lung cancer, she has a clear mind and can assume any legal responsibility. I presented the appraisal reports one by one. Suwon's legs went weak, and he plopped down on the chair, his face ashen. After the court session ended, Suwon asked me what means I had used. Seeing that there was no one around, I leaned close to him and said softly, your mother is a person first. How could you not realize that? He looked confused while I walked away with light steps, welcoming the wonderful life that was about to come. The end.